Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Kurt, aka Vitruvian Gamer, and we entered the top 20 of my top 100 board games of all time. At this moment in time, of the games that I've played so far, of course, because there are so many games, I cannot play them all, and there are some big titles missing from this list that I haven't played yet. Or maybe that I never will because I'm not interested in them, or they might be too expensive, or whatever. But hey, this is my personal list. So, before I start, don't forget the contest. You can still enter. Go check out the video about the contest, how to enter. If you're entering now, you still can get quite a bit of entries in the drawing for the €75 gift certificate to buy stuff with on the Portal Games webshop. So it is worth checking it out and entering, of course. Anyway, let's start with this last 20 of, with this 10 before we get to the top 10. But these are awesome games as well. And we start with one that was and this can give away quite a bit for the people maybe saw my previous one and entered the contest. This is one that dropped out of the top 5. It was number 4 last time, 2 years ago, and it's now number 20. So 16 places drop. It is number 55 on Board Game Geek, and the reason why this one dropped... Oh, my hand is heavy, because there's a lot of in this box. I've got a lot of expansions for it. The reason why this dropped is not because I like it less. It's just, with all the expansions, it has become a mess to set the game up. It takes so long. I'm talking about Eldritch Horror. This is a cool game, Lovecraftian theme, where you are these investigators trying to solve a mystery, fighting an ancient one, traveling the world, getting weapons, items, magic spells, trying to defeat creatures, closing gates, all that kind of jazz. This is an awesome game, but I wish I didn't have all the expansions, honestly, because setting this thing up now might sometimes take longer than playing the game, because you might die very quickly if you are a little bit in bad luck, and that's why it doesn't get played that much anymore, which is so sad, because I really like this game. But it has become a little bit convoluted with all the expansions, and I really need an insert for this game that allows setup to go really fast. But inserts, another story, but still like it quite a bit. It's my number 20, so let's stay positive. But it's not my number 4 anymore, so for those who already have entered the contest and said Eldritch Horror was one of my top 5 games, I'm sorry, it's not anymore. Anyway, let's go to number 19, brand new in the collection, and it's a light game, and it actually surprised me that it's so high, but it's so high because it works so well as a gateway game, and I need some of those games in my collection, and this works perfectly. It's a game by Bruno Catala, awesome designer, and this was also nominated or won the Spiel des Jahres, I have no clue, but it's Kingdomino. And the title says it all. You're building a kingdom in a domino kind of way. You have these doubles, you have these tiles with 2 pictures on them, these long tiles, and you're trying to make a grid with these tiles, getting certain areas of the same type together and scoring them at the end of the game depending on how many crowns you have in that area. Very simple system. If you take maybe the less interesting tiles, that makes you go get first choice the next time. There are always four tiles to choose from if you're playing a 4-player game, and so that adds a little bit of strategy to the game. Looks very cute, very colorful. It's pretty simple, but it works perfectly if you're looking for a gateway game. Again, this might do the trick very well. It is number 178 on Board Game Geek, so it's also highly rated, honestly. For such a game, that's a good position to be. Number 18, also new on the list. It's a very much hyped game, and honestly, I don't know where it will be next year. This might be even higher next year if their system with their app and with chains turns out to work. And I'm talking about Keyforge. Keyforge is this unique card game, which means it's not collectible. So it's by Richard Garfield, designer of Magic the Gathering. In this game, you have to buy a deck of cards, and that's your deck. You are not deck building, you're not creating decks, buying more boosters to get more cards, to get better cards, to build combinations. No, you buy a unique deck, which means every deck that you buy in these little booster packs is unique, which means the combination of cards, there is not a second deck that is completely the same in the entire world. You have a different name for your deck, and you have a different picture at the back of the of your cards. So that's cool. But the gameplay is pretty sweet as well. The goal of the game, to forge keys. The first player to forge 3 keys is the winner, and you do that by collecting amber. Amber you can collect by having creatures and reap amber to get amber to it. You can steal amber from your opponent. You can play cards that just give you amber because you play them. In the meantime, you're trying to stop your opponent from getting the amber or from getting those keys forged. Very cool game. I like it a lot. It might be a little bit too long, so that's why I'm curious what they're going to do with this. First of all, I've played 2 tournaments now. No, I played a pre-release or a release event, which wasn't really a tournament, and I played a tournament. And I must say, if you have to play 5 games of this, it can be very draining. So I'm not sure how it will work in the organized play thing. I'm also, for the balance of decks, they're going to work with chains, which is some kind of penalty you get if your deck is too strong. You have to enter your plays into this app. But I'm not sure how they will do it, how it will affect gameplay. I'm very curious to see how that works out. So, to be continued, but so far, I'm loving this game quite a bit. Keyforge, Call of the Archons. It is number 230 on Board Game Geek, so decently rated for a fairly new game. Number 17, also one of the oldies, but I keep loving this. It was my number 30 last time, so it went up 13 places. Why? Because it keeps on working when I take it to parties or to friends, and we are with... I prefer it with at least 6 players, maybe 5 works as well. And I'm talking about Dixit, which is a Spiel des Jahres winner from 2010. I'm sorry about the glare. In this game, you have all these crazy, beautiful looking cards. Just picking one. Beautiful looking cards, which can be anything, honestly. And the player whose turn it is going to give... is going to choose a card from their hands and going to say a clue or sing a clue or whatever. Give a clue. Place that face down, and the other players are going to try find a card in their hands that also can be connected to that clue. All cards get shuffled, and people have to guess which one the original card was from the clue giver. If people guess on your card while you weren't a clue giver, then you score points, of course. But if people guess your card and you were the clue giver, you don't want everybody to guess your card, because then your clue was too obvious. But you also don't want nobody to guess your card, and then your clue was not good enough, and then other players will score bonus points and you will score nothing. So, very cool game. Again, a gateway game that works perfectly. This keeps on being a success for me. It is number 175 on Board Game Geek, so it's a classic. It is a classic. Number 16 was number 9 last time. It hurts a little bit to see it drop 7 spots. It is one of my old loves, and I'm not sure why it dropped. There are some games that, well, are new and exciting, but this stays high. 16 is not bad. And I'm also going to show you only the box, because I've got this insert which weighs a ton now with all the expansions in it. And I'm talking about Imperial Settlers. This is an awesome game where you're trying to, well, build your empire with the cards. It's a card game. You're playing all these buildings in your empire that can be activated and give you special powers that give you production, and that way you're trying to build an engine. That's the thing that you're doing with this game. You're building this powerful engine that gives you, in the end, points, because that's the goal of the game. It's asymmetrical, so each player plays a faction. There are some pretty cool expansions out there already that play very differently, different ways of scoring, of getting your engine built. This is a wonderful, wonderful game. It's my number 16. It's 144 on Board Game Geek. I still love it. It's not because it dropped a couple of spots that I don't like it anymore, because I actually really do love it. It's Imperial Settlers, my number 16. And then we go to number 15, also a new game. The one for me in this craze about roll and write games that does it the best for me personally. Although it doesn't use the roll and write, it uses the flip and write actually, because this uses cards. This is Welcome to. In Welcome to, you are an architect and you are trying to build the best neighborhood in town. And you do that by putting numbers in 3 different streets in the houses of the streets. And they have to be, they have to go from 1 to whatever, maximum of 17. So, and the way you do that is each turn you get 3 choices, 3 combinations, a number and a certain effect. You choose one of those 3 combinations, you write down a number, you do the effect, and that way you're going to score at the end of the game. In the game, you can try to reach some goals that are lying there. You can get points for getting houses with pools. You get points for building parks. It all sounds like a lot, but it's all so condensed in one small game. Plays fast, plays from 1 to 100 players, depending how many sheets you have, because you can play this with as many players as you want. I'm loving this game so much. Welcome to awesome little game. My number 15 is 261 on Board Game Geek. I think it will go even higher soon. Number 14. Okay, folks, again, if you saw my last top one, not 100, I did the top 75 2 years ago. This one was also in my top 5. It was even in my top 3. So if you guessed that one, I'm sorry for the contest. I'm sorry. This one is not correct anymore. It dropped out of the top 5. It dropped out of the top 10. It's my number 14, so 11 spaces lower now. It is 324 on Board Game Geek. And in this game, you are outlaws trying to rob a train. I still love this game. It's just that there are other games that I like even a little bit more. And it was high last time. 3 was a very high score for this type of game, but I still like it. Problem is, you want to play it with enough people, 4 at least, I guess. I don't get to play it that often as I wish, but I still love it. And that's Colt Express. This game looks awesome on the table. You have this really 3D train model, this cardboard train, where your meeples, your bandits are walking around, getting on the roof, shooting each other, punching each other, picking up loot, and trying to get, at the end of the game, have the most loot. Very cool game. You do this by playing action cards, sometimes open, sometimes blind, when the train goes into a tunnel. Each player has a certain ability that they can use, a certain special power that they have. Not sure if they're completely balanced. That might be a reason why it's dropped a little bit. It has already some expansions. I finally played with the first expansion a while ago, because the base game just does it perfectly. Also one of my favorite gateway games, Colt Express, my number 14. And talking about gateway games, wow, there are a lot in this list, right? Gateway games in my top 30, there are a lot of them. And this might be one of my favorite as well. This is a game by Haba. Haba, who is most known for their children's games. But since a couple of years, they also do family games. And one of the two first ones that they did is still the best one they did, in my opinion, and that's Karuba. Now, in Karuba, each player is this adventurer trying to get these artifacts out of temples. And you do this by tile placement. So one player will have a bag or a pile of tiles face down, and each tile has a number. So he's going to draw a tile, announce the number, and every player is going to take the same tile and put it into their tableau, trying to make routes to the different temples. Each colored adventurer has to go to the right color of temple. To move an adventurer, you have to... I need a little bit of drink. You need to discard a tile, and the number of exits of the roads on the tile is the number of spaces you can move one of your meeples. And that way you're trying to reach your temple first, because then you get the highest scoring artifact of that color. On the way you can find some diamonds, some gold, which scores you points as well. Very cool system. You can play this 2 to 4 players, but you have multiple copies. I think you can play even more players if you really want to. I think we did a playthrough on the channel where you could play with us if you had a board at home. Really like this one. Karuba, one of my favorite gateway games again. It is number 20. It was my number 13. It was my number 20 last time. So it keeps getting loved here. It's number 390 on Board Game Geek. Now we go to something completely different. Not a gateway game, that's for sure. This game has a lot going on. It is a bag builder, so which means not a deck builder. In this case, you are having these tokens with characters. You have them in the bag, you draw some of them, and you can use them to get things done, activate some actions, or to get other characters into your bag. And so you're building this bag of tiles with characters. And the game that I'm talking about is Orléans. Now, Orléans, you are trying to score points. Again, this could have been a Stefan Feld game. So there are so many ways to score points, to get objectives done that score you points at the end of the game. You can walk around Europe or France to make trade houses, to get resources. You can use those resources to do whatever, to score points. You can get influence on the track. You can send workers to the beneficial deeds map where you get rewards at the end of the game. A bunch of ways to get points and to win the game. It has an expansion. It has 2 expansions. I only have one, which adds, for example, a cooperative mode, which is pretty hard to win, but plays very cool. It has a 2-player variant that you can play, which is a little bit more competitive for 2 players. Great game, awesome. It is my number 12. It was number 16 last time, so it went up 4 places. And it's number 26 on Board Game Geek, so everybody seems to like this quite a bit. Then we go to the last one that just didn't make it to the top 10, but I really love this game. So I already mentioned Eldritch Horror. This is a younger brother of Eldritch Horror, of Arkham Horror. It's the card game. Now I'm going to show you this box. It is is an expansion box, because I don't have the original box anymore, because I have so many expansions that it didn't fit in that box, which was a stupid box to begin with. So I put it in one of my empty Eldritch Horror boxes with an insert. But I'm going to show you this one here. It was my number 44 last time, so it was brand new, I believe 2 years ago. So it went up 33 spots. I love this game. It tells a great story. It is hard, it is difficult to win. It is a very cool system how it plays. It's very unique. And people seem to like it a lot because it's number 20 on Board Game Geek. So each time you're playing a scenario in a story and you have an objective, you are fighting monsters, you're trying to find clues, get to the places where you need to go, while you are getting beaten up by all these nasty cards that hit you around, that makes you make checks to see if you go insane or get wounded. You're trying to get weapons and spells and allies in your team. Awesome game, very cool, so well done this game. This is a living card game, by the way, so they keep on bringing out expansions. I cannot follow them, so I'm going slowly but surely, but this will give me joy and pleasure for a long time still. Arkham Horror, the card game, my number 11. Okay, folks, that ends this part. Now, there's only one thing left to do. First of all, and then I'm going to count. No, there are a couple of things left to do. First of all, if you didn't enter the contest yet, you can still do so. Go check out the video where I announce a contest. Try to guess my top 5 games. So give me 5 games that you think are in my top 10. There are already a lot of games that you might have guessed before that are not there anymore, so you might have more clues. Of course, I've already mentioned 90 games, so those aren't the 5 games that I'm looking for. It's worth less entries for each correct answer than if you did it a couple of videos ago, but you only need one. I'm going to draw randomly a winner of a €75 gift certificate for the webshop of Portal Games. And the second thing that we still need to do is the top 10. Now I'm still trying to figure it out if I'm going to do a live video for my top 10 or if I'm going to film it. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to record it before I just like this, or I'm going to do it live. We'll see if I can get everything figured out. Anyway, thank you for watching this part. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of the games that I mentioned. I think there might be a few surprises in this part, right? Some very light games that you might not have suspected. 2 games that were in my top 5 last time. So those are gone. What will follow? Oh, I'm excited. I hope you are excited as well. I invite you to join me for the top 10 very soon. Thanks for watching and bye bye.